Hey everyone, welcome to The Leader's Edge, your path to personal and leadership growth. I'm your host, Steve Steele, alongside my co-host and partner in leadership, Ernie DeCumos. And as certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth journey. Whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, this show is for you. Now, we're going to be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you for joining us each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your incredible support. Now, let's get down to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, Ernalita, how you doing today, partner?
Hi, partner. You're gonna kill me. I forgot to record.
Okay, start all over.
Ah! All right, Jordan. We're gonna have to start over. I forgot to record.
Hey everyone, welcome to The Leader's Edge, your path to personal and leadership growth. I'm your host, Steve Steele, alongside my co-host and partner in leadership, Ernie DeCumos. As certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth journey. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, this show is for you. We'll be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your amazing, incredible support. Now, let's get down to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, Ernalita, my partner, how are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic, partner. It's been an interesting morning for us, huh?
It has. It has. Very interesting.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. This is your co-host Ernie Kumos, and I am excited for this episode today. How about you, partner?
I am, Ernie. When I met this lady, I just fell in love with her right away. And we've had her as a guest before, not on our show here, but I think we did a webinar with her one time. And just amazing, amazing, powerful speaker. And so I want you to take just a minute and introduce to who she is.
It is my great pleasure. Our guest speaker this morning is a powerhouse speaker, visionary business strategist, and coach for female entrepreneurs ready to break through plateaus, amplify their visibility, and create lasting impact. An Amazon #1 best-selling author and real estate broker with over 22 years of experience connecting buyers and sellers, she now channels her expertise into helping ambitious women elevate their influence, attract high value opportunities, and drive meaningful growth. Known as the connection queen and the disruptor, she is definitely a disruptor. She has an unmatched gift for crafting strategic partnerships that fuel visibility, expand networks, and unlock new revenue streams. Her signature approach blends bold leadership, authentic connection, and sharp business strategy to help her clients lead with values, clarity, increase their presence, and make more money without sacrificing freedom or balance. Whether speaking on stage, behind the mic, or coaching behind the scenes, she empowers entrepreneurs to discover their next right step rather, grow their influence with authenticity, create and turn their boldest vision into reality, making sure they're seen and heard. Everyone, please help us welcome Miss Lorna Sherland to the green room.
Oh, Lorna, so glad you're here. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. You might be muted more, Laura.
I will
There you
not
are.
say any more than, oh my gosh, that's enough.
What a morning, right? I mean, oh my goodness, what a morning. Now, you are the connection queen and the disruptor. So, you know what? We've got a great, great morning ahead of us. And I am so glad you're here. This is amazing. This is amazing having you here on the show. And we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to pour straight through the show. We're not going to take any breaks. We're not going to do anything. We're going to go straight through. So, Lorna,
Mhm.
Ernie and I are just gonna you just fire away, and Ernie and I are going to just chime in wherever organically it feels right. And so, but let me open up with you with this. So, Lorna, we've talked about a number of times about, and the title of this show is actually "Start with the End in Mind." And so we have talked on this a couple of times that we talk about our visions, our values, some of our identities, but you have a method and it's called the Thrive method. So can you share with us a little bit about what that method is and how that impacts you?
Well, thank you for asking that question, Steve. And just because we started the way we started this morning is so interesting, right? Because
Yeah.
we could have not thrived in the situation that we ended up in
Right.
this morning. But thriving is all about, it's just think about it, right? Like I start with the end in mind. Think about what the word means. What does the word thrive mean to you? And as the audiences are listening, I just want them to think about that, because when you tap into the word that you're connected to, then you're going to know if you're on the right track. That's how I teach my clients. A lot of times we do things because other people are doing it. We don't think about why and the outcome that we're looking for when we do things. So I want people to really think about words and what they mean. And when we do that, then we actually step into our power, then we can step into our own values, then we can step into what we want and not the programming that we're used to, right? So I want to start off by saying that. And in order to thrive, you get to have your own identity. I'm not going to do it in order today. Because I want the people to really think about what does thrive mean to them. I can give you what I think thrive means. I can give you the acronym for what I believe thrive gets to be. But if you don't have something for your own, then it's going to be hard. So thrive is really transformation, building habits to create results that causes impact based on your vision so that you can have expansion.
Yeah. Wow.
Right? So we can go into all of that. And in order to do that, though, you got to start with the end in mind. What
I
is the
love
outcome
that.
you're looking for? Right? Whether it's in business, it's in personal relationships, your finances, whatever that is for you, right? That's where we start. So I just wanted to make that clear. And I'm going to go deep into it. I know I told you guys I'm going to have a show, not a show, but an experience on June 27th and 28th here in Dallas, where we're going to go deep dive into all of this because I think it's so important. And I'll bring it to a story yesterday. I was at a networking event, and one of the ladies, we were networking and talking, and at the end of it, one of the ladies came up to me and she said, I'm meeting some people. Oh, I invited her to another networking event today. And she said, oh, I can't make it because I'm meeting some people, some new friends for dinner. And she didn't look happy. I was like, because I tapped into that. And I said,
Yes.
well, why don't you sound happy? Well, we were talking before and there was silence and it felt awkward, and she went all down the rabbit hole, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, what's the purpose of going to the dinner if you're not wanting to create connection, right?
Or there's no
So
connection at all.
exactly. Exactly. So at that point, I said to her, "Well, you get to decide how you want the relationship to look. If you, because she's really an observer, so she's not one to talk a lot. So that's why she felt uncomfortable. She explained that to me. She felt uncomfortable because everybody was yapping, yapping, yapping. She didn't have anything to add to the conversation, and she felt uncomfortable. Well, I said, you gotta be you. You gotta be you at the end of the day. What do you want out of the relationship, right? And then she thought about it, and then she caught it. So I don't want to keep talking. Ask me questions. I
Yes,
could go down
actually,
a
I
whole
think
rabbit hole with all this stuff.
I love it. This is
I
why
love it.
we have time limits, but yes, we do need to deliver the message. I love that, Lorna, because what I'm hearing you say is like ha you asking the listeners what thrive means to you because it will help you focus, right? There's words that we will be using today. It will help you focus. Why? Why is it? Somebody is probably asking this question right now. But what I'm thinking is focus from shiny objects.
Yes.
Can you please
Yes.
elaborate on that, Lorna?
Yes. So that comes into the vision part of Thrive, the V in Thrive. It's for vision, stands for vision, right? When you have a vision that is so clear, that is so relentless, that is so on point, that you are so clear that this is what you get to do in the world in this season. And don't get me wrong, the vision can, you can adjust it, right? However, when you have such a clear vision, nothing takes you off track. The shiny objects, when they come at you, I teach my clients, okay, when they come to me and they're saying, oh, I have this opportunity, I have that opportunity, I have this opportunity, and they're thinking about it, the first question I ask them is it in alignment with your vision? And if they think about it for a quick second and reconnect to their vision that we created on our first strategic call, then they get their answer right there. I don't have to tell them anything. I just ask them that one question. They get to see it for themselves, right? Like if it's not aligned with the vision, then it's a no or a not now, right? If it's not going to move the needle towards the vision that you created for yourself for the month, for the year, 5 years, 10 years, then it's a no. It doesn't get to happen, or it doesn't get to happen now. That's how you stay focused on what you're creating. And that's how you actually collapse time, because the shiny penny syndrome actually takes you off track.
Yeah.
Right. And I could go into scripture on that too, but I don't think we have time for that part.
I do have a partner. If you let me, I have one more that comes to mind, and I love this. I feel like we're rushing, but we're not rushing. These are tokens of value, and I'm hearing somebody watching or listening right now saying, "Okay, this is great, but where does fear fall into place on that Thrive method?"
Oh my gosh, girl.
I just opened up a can of worms.
Yes, you did. And I'm going to touch on it a little bit because it actually it falls into every one of the categories, right? Because, excuse me, when we have quote unquote fear. So here's where I want to go with that question. I want to invite the audience to reframe in their minds what fear means, right? Because fear is being taught as false evidence appearing real, right?
Yes.
I'm here to say, what if we changed false evidence and just call fear a symptom?
Ooh.
Fear is simply a symptom, right? When you have or experience fear, it's a feeling of fear.
Yes.
Right? And a feeling is, how do people always say? Feelings are fickle. So meaning it's going to pass. The feelings pass through. The feeling is an emotion, right? Emotions. So I could go into the etymology, energy in motion. So that's why I say fear is a symptom. The energy is an indicator, giving you a sense that, okay, something is up. So now you get to ask yourself, okay, I feel this thing. What is it trying to tell me? Where have I felt it before? You know, how can I use this as a good question to see what's my next step? Does that make sense? Because if you look at fear that way, number one, it's going to take you out of being frozen, right? Because when you ask yourself questions, you're giving yourself the answers, and then you're taking action as you're giving yourself the answers, right? You know, it's not, it's the questions. I always tell people, the answers are in the questions. So if you're not asking yourself enough questions, you're not getting the answers, which is why you're stuck. So if you want to get unstuck, come to my From Stuck to Unstoppable Masterclass, and I get you unstuck. Because when you're not asking yourself questions, that's when you're stuck. And fear, one of my mentors, Alok Trivedi, taught me this. He said that when you're in fear, you're either in the past or in the future. You're worried about what already happened, and you're worried about what's going to happen.
Right.
What does that cause?
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
Exactly. You're not being present. You're
Yes.
not being
Right.
present. You're not being in gratitude for where you are right now, what you have right now, who you're being right now, who's with you right now, all those things. So,
Yeah.
and I'll take it even simple. When we were having a problem this morning, it took
Mm-hmm.
everything out of me. Y'all couldn't see it, but it took everything out of me to stay present to finding the
Mm-hmm.
solution to this challenge, the sound challenge that we had on my computer.
Mm-hmm.
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 Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it started before we got on, right?
Yeah.
But
Yes.
Yeah.
if I was like, I don't get me wrong, I'm human. It came up, which is why I can talk about it. It came up. I was like, oh my God, the tone isn't working. But it wasn't the sound at first. It was, I couldn't hear anything on my computer. And I fixed that. And then when I got on with you, you couldn't hear me. So I'm like, okay, great. Right. But if I went
Mm-hmm.
into, I would have, the old me would have panicked, would have called you on the phone. Yo, we can't get on. We can't do the show. Let's cancel all the things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? But I move through it because I understand that fear is only a symptom. And if I can manage that fear, that means I'm managing the emotions, which means that I will stay in action, moving towards the solution, which is the R in results of the word thrive.
Yes, beautiful. I think for me, Lorna, when I have fear, it comes in my life. My head always runs away with me, and it's always about what is going to happen. What will happen if I don't get this done? Or I don't do this. What's going to happen? What will I
Future. Yeah.
lose? What will I lose? It's always futuristic. It's not a whole lot about the past for me, but it is more futuristic for me. Now, you said something really important. What centers me is coming back to gratitude, because that's the
Mm-hmm.
present moment. Being
Yep.
grateful for the things that you do have, not necessarily things you might lose or the things that you might encounter, but being in the very present moment of being grateful for the things that you have, as you have accomplished, or the things that you do have. That's absolutely beautiful. And I think if most people will learn to do that, so the fear that they may have will begin to fade and subside. Even though
Yeah.
it's there's still issues, there's still challenges, but I think
Yeah.
I think we get a better grip on that. Wow, that's
Yeah.
powerful. That's powerful.
Yeah. And think about it, Steve. Think about it. If you're being in gratitude for what you have or where you are in your life,
Hmm.
that, and you start asking yourself, when you're in the gratitude, you open up your real estate. You just said that, it gets away in your mind. You start thinking about all the
Hmm.
thing, all the thoughts. The thoughts are coming. I mean, we think what what is
Thousand,
it was
60,
60,000 to 80.
60,000 per,
60 to
right?
80,000 per day. Yes.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
if you are being present, right, in the moment, and mastering how to slow the 60,000 down, giving
Hmm.
yourself mental real estate to ask
Hmm.
questions and for the
Mm-hmm.
answers to those questions to come in, then we can see how it's possible to move forward,
Mm.
right?
Yes.
So, yes, I'm not saying don't have fear. I'm saying use the fear in a way
Right.
that will give you the results that you're looking for. I'm not saying that you don't have challenges. That is exactly why the feeling came up. It's to
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
give you that indication that something is happening in my beingness that I get to take care of. What is it? Most people numb themselves out so they don't
Right.
feel
Mm.
it, right?
Right.
And I'm
Yes.
saying use it instead of numbing it. People use alcohol, sex, drugs, all the things to numb the fear. And I'm saying,
Hmm.
no, no, no. Use that fear as fuel,
Mm-hmm.
right? On the journey,
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes, that
right?
Yeah.
is definitely true, Lorna. And another
Mhm.
thing that I would add is we are numbing ourselves by scrolling on social media, not wanting,
Yes.
having music in our ears, not
Mhm.
having the time to actually sit down and reflect. And um, I was this person before that I cannot be by myself with my own thoughts,
Mhm.
right? I cannot be by myself with my own thoughts because I know I will go on a downward spiral. So
Mhm.
what you're saying is when things arise, when you have that indicator, so fear is an indicator, as you mentioned, ask questions. For somebody who is learning this right now, right? For somebody who's fresh with this value that you're sharing, what can you give us like baseline or foundational questions that they can ask to maybe guide them to seek the next question, or maybe to find if the question is even correct?
Well, there's no wrong question. Just like there's no
Mm,
wrong answer. That's number one. And what I would say to the audience is keep it simple. Number one, keep it simple. I teach that the first step to transformation, which is the T in Thrive, is awareness, right? So just
mhm,
being present to the fact that, okay, I'm feeling the fear. That's the first step. Acknowledging is the second step. Acknowledge that, okay, I'm feeling this fear. And then you ask the first question, what is it trying to tell me?
Right.
What is this trying to tell me?
Mm.
Right? Second question is, because typically when you feel a fear, it's familiar, right?
mm,
You felt it
yes,
before somewhere,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So,
Yep.
and you've passed through it before,
yes,
right? And
yes.
you, because now you're here, you're on the other side. So how do we get on the other side? Just reminding yourself that, okay, I could do this, right? And then you ask yourself, third question, what do I want? What do I want that's causing me to feel this fear? And
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
the fourth question is, what am I willing to give up?
oof.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Wow.
And part of that is giving up the feeling of, okay, I can't do anything. Right. But as you ask yourself the questions, I'm just giving you examples. You're going to have your own answers based on the situation you're in. Right.
Right.
Whether it's, a fear in your finances, worried about a bill, worried about a relationship, worried about, if your business is working, right? Worried about,
Mm,
okay, I've met a lot of women recently who I just spoke to one on Monday. Um, absolutely successful, not cognitive of her success, but absolutely successful. And she felt stuck, right? And in
mm.
fear, right? And she couldn't even pinpoint the fear. But after the conversation with me, I'm like, well, lady, you have done so much. Are you even acknowledging what you have done? This is what asking questions can do. It-
I think we lost her a little bit there, Ernst.
Okay, I thought it was
It's
me.
not, it's not surprising.
Today is an amazing day. We're asking
It
the right
really is.
questions. It
Uh,
actually, well, she okay. Now she's
oh,
back.
she's
Hi, Lorna.
back.
Yes, you got cut out.
We lost
what
you for a
Today
happened?
second.
is an amazing day. You froze.
You froze up. You're good. You're good.
Did you hear me though?
No, you need to
What did you hear?
repeat that last part you
We,
just talked about.
yes, yes, yes. So
So you gotta tell.
basically, questions, asking questions, basic questions.
Oh, I was saying basic. Oh, so do you hear me? Did you hear the four questions? What's it trying to
Yes.
tell me? Okay. So I was sharing that I was talking to a woman this past Monday, a very successful woman, and
Mm-hmm.
she was in fear because what she was working on right now wasn't moving fast enough. And one of the things I told her is, you got to acknowledge where you've been. You haven't even acknowledged
Mm-hmm.
how powerful you have been over the years. And what I was saying is, most people do not acknowledge where they are right now, where they've
Yes.
been that has brought them to where they are. And because of that, a lot of fear comes up. And that is the block. It sounds so simple, but I'm telling you, if you look at it, that's your block. That's one of your blocks, and you're not seeing it. Acknowledgement is a power.
It is a definitely powerful tool. Acknowledgement is a powerful tool.
Yeah, it really is.
In my mind, it keeps coming back to me. So, like, let's make it simple until Lorna comes back. It's more so on, um, when there's things that we want in life, and we think, well, we can't reach it. We
Mhm.
can't
Right.
reach it. Instead of saying that, how can I get there? Like, what is the next step for me to get there?
Yeah,
Who
well,
do I need to know, and or what do I need to do to get there.
And let me ask this question as well, Lorna. I mean, let's say that you're in a situation and you have exhausted almost every resource you possibly could to find a solution. You've collaborated, you've talked to people, and you have exhausted so many resources over and over and over again. Is there ever come to a point where you have to change direction? You have to move a different way, or lean onto someone else? Does that make sense? Am I making sense there? Because there are times when I know people get totally, it's like it's like you're going down a long maze and you're taking all these turns and you're trying to work all these things, and at the very end, it's just a block, and you can't seem to see yourself move forward.
Yeah.
What do you do in that situation?
Yeah, so that's a great question, Steve, because I see and I've been there too, right? So many entrepreneurs, we're trying to make something work. We're trying to make it happen. And I heard somebody say something recently. It sounded so good, but it was so true. Let me see if I can remember. If it's God's, plan, it's His bill, something like that, right? Sometimes we a lot of times, most of the times, it's going to come back to vision again. Most of the times, right? Because typically when you are in alignment, if that's happening, something is out of alignment, meaning something is, you may be in the action of doing something because of an outcome that you're desiring that is not aligned with your true potential. That's typically what causes that. Let's say, Myron Golan gave a good example of it this morning. If you are trying to build a business and it's not aligned with your wheelhouse, and you have not thought to partner with somebody whose wheelhouse is that thing that is your weakness, typically you're going to have trouble because you're going against your expertise. You're going against your wheelhouse, right? One of the books that I always recommend first to entrepreneurs, most people haven't read it, but especially when they're starting out, is The E-Myth by Michael Gerber. The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber. That book will tell you who you are. That book, for me, told me that I already knew it, but it just confirmed I'm a visionary. I'm not you want to make money? I'll tell you how, but don't tell me to go do the thing. Don't tell me to go do the tech. Not happening.
Yes, don't tell me what to do.
Right? Don't tell me how to go do graphics. Not happening. All the techie things. No, we're not doing that. Right?
Yes,
Yes,
I agree.
Not a problem. Tell me to close the sale. Not a problem. Tell me to talk to people and enroll them. Not a problem. But the tech stuff, no. So the E-Myth Revisited will tell you who you are. You're a doer, you're a visionary, you're a techie, all the things, right? I think there were 4 categories in that book that shared with people who they are in business. And if you're in your wheelhouse, so if somebody is going around the mill and things aren't working, you gotta really stop and take inventory of what's happening. If you take inventory of what's happening, you can see it. Typically, you can't see it by yourself, though. You need somebody who can see the blind spots for you. That's why people need mentors and coaches, right? So you typically can't see it by yourself because it's a blind spot. But I hope that answered your question, Steve.
Yeah, it was great. It was great. I do want to jump onto one thing. We only have a few minutes left. A few minutes, like 8 minutes maybe. So one little subject that I love what you've talked about before, and that's about your values. You have what you call highest value and versus core value. Can you speak on that just in the next couple of minutes?
Yeah, one of my favorite things to talk about, because when we speak about values, typically we speak into family values, we speak into relationship values, all those, right? And I'm here to add to the conversation, which is a slight disruption to the conversation, to talk about the fact that high values are different than regular values. You know, people can have a value of integrity, honesty, you know, like I said, if they have those kinds of values, those are values that we've been taught by society. And the higher values is the ones like what is actually driving you, especially in business. So I've learned from Dr. Rewire 13 questions to ask somebody when they're in business to just check out. Your highest value is what drives you. Your highest value is the reason you get up every morning. Your highest value is the thing that you do even if you're dying. I'll put it that way. That's how drastic it is. So things like um, money. I'll use money as an example. When I did my value assessment, money was down to number 5. And your high values are your top 3 are the things that drive you, right? So I used to think that family was my highest value until I did that assessment. And it turns out that learning is my highest value, right?
Wow.
So to learn and teach it to somebody else, I also found out that travel was in my highest value. Well, if I'm not doing those 3 things, it's called misery, right?
It's not
Miserable.
a driver. Yep.
It's not a driver. So that's why people now then they go to grind because now they have to overcome their highest value, right? So like I said, I thought my family, don't get me wrong, love my family, but it's not my highest value. This is why some women who are in business, they feel bad about themselves and they beat up themselves when they're working long hours and they're not home with their children. Perfect
Yes, there's
example.
guilt.
Their value is business. And I'm not saying they don't love their family, but their highest value is their business. Their highest value is serving and making impact. And when you know that, you stop beating up yourself. It shifts the energy.
Yes.
Excuse me. It
Bless you.
shifts the energy in your body, right? Do you see that?
Yes.
It'll shift your
Oh, yeah.
energy. So now, and then you get to have an enrollment conversation with your family to explain to them who you are. So now you're not feeling bad and they're not hating you. See
I
what I
love
mean?
that.
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah,
totally.
absolutely.
I totally agree. So let's conclude this with the mission. Where does mission fit in all this? So we've talked about vision, the values, the identity. Let's touch on mission, Lorna, and go from there.
Yeah, that is the secret sauce right there. The
Whew.
mission is the we factor. Mission is the we factor. The vision is the me factor. I'll put it that simple.
Mm.
That's
Wow,
good.
beautifully
Right?
said. Beautifully said. Lorna, thank you so much for adding value to our listeners. And this is way different of a version than the one that we did in the webinar. And I think I
It
mean,
really was.
both have, a great magnitude of content, but I love this one. I'm sure our listeners are wanting to know, how can they reach out to you and what are you currently working on?
Like I shared before in the chat in the beginning, I'm having a really big event in Dallas on June 27th and 28th. So if you're an entrepreneur, a female entrepreneur specifically, who's looking to grow their business and their life, they should be in that room. It should not be something that you miss. I promise you, you will leave a different person than you came in. You guys can reach out to me on Facebook at Lorna Sherland Official, on Instagram at Coach Lorna Sherland, and on LinkedIn, Lorna Sherland.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Thank you, Lorna, so much for that. Everyone, listen next Thursday on the Leader's Edge. Get ready for an energized episode titled "It's Not Rocket Science, It's Reps," featuring the multi-talented Neil Hobson, speaker, MC, radio host, live DJ, and creative director, choreographer at One Goal Global. Neil will share how consistency and putting in the steps lead to success both in life and leadership. So don't miss this dynamic episode. And as always, Lorna, thank you so much for today. You are awesome. Despite all of the adversity we had today. You were amazing. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's a good show, y'all. It's a follow-up to what I just said. So be sure to be on
Yes.
next week.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Again, thank you so much, Lorna. You are such a disruptor. I think some element is trying to disrupt this show, but no, we're not. We have the disruptor in the
No,
room. So
that's
thank you,
right.
Lorna.
That's right.
And we wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends because without you, the Leader's Edge would not be possible. We are grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. But for now,